I haven't got it with me now, but when I printed out the 23-page document, I turned page 1, and in the indexing, open source and OpenWeight was so high up, which was a surprise to many people. For Hugging Face, that clearly is a good result.
Absolutely. It's not just for Hugging Face, it's for the community at large. It's time that the U.S. gets back to its roots of open source and what that means for the future of innovation.
Why is open source, Irene, so important to the future of innovation in this so-called race of U.S. versus China?
So much of what has started this AI boom today is really the foundation of open science, the original papers that created the kinds of transformers that we're seeing today. And there's something in that report for everybody. So we're really looking forward to the next generation of manufacturing, to the many areas of science where we're seeing more development through open source and open science. It's not just language models. There's many communities that rely on sharing and with community work.
What Lisa Su was talking about there was an involvement in forming policy. From her perspective, how involved has Hugging Face been with this administration? And you know, we had Mr. Kratsios on the show earlier. Sriram Krishnan will be on just after you. Are these conversations you were involved in as this document was written up?
We were lucky to engage deeply with this administration. I will say that we are a little tech, and we've also appreciated the attention that this administration has given to little tech with our 200-plus team.
One of the interviews I did yesterday was with SBA Director Kelly Loeffler, who said the same thing, that her interpretation, it's obviously her domain, is that this is written with a view to how it impacts Main Street, companies of all sizes as they kind of get to grips with using AI. Why is that important?
Well, so much of AI, I think it's easy to overlook those hobbyists. Part of what our platform wants to encourage is the kind of person who's just been toying with AI in their rooms, who really wants to skill up. We talked a little bit yesterday and today about training and deployment. We want everybody to be able to ensure that they can contribute to AI because everybody is affected by it.
That's what's so important, perhaps more about the AI evaluation ecosystem as well. I know that's something that you prioritize a lot at Hugging Face, and you think about ultimately the societal implications. There was talk about how they support the labour market. But I'm interested in the note on bias or potential bias, or what ultimately they see as bias within some of the large language models and how that's adopted by federal government in the US. Irene, how have you interpreted that?
Yes, so the AI ecosystem is really a thriving area for research, for development. I'm sorry, I'm unable to hear some of that question. If you could repeat that, Caroline.
Can you hear me now? Ed, you jump in.
I'll jump in. We have some, it's a technology show where sometimes the technology fails us a little. You heard Lisa Su talk about science, the application of AI. She meant in, I think, infrastructure, but in energy, for example. One of the panelists I believe you listened to was Jake Lucerarian from Gecko. Heavy emphasis on how AI can help the energy industry boost its output. You were also interested in the science application. You came away reading the document and the president's speech feeling what about that domain?
A huge part of AI, of course, is going to be energy. The energy was high yesterday, and as the plan says, it's only going to get higher. We're seeing at Hugging Face people really using actually smaller models to enhance their work stream. So some of the most downloaded models are energy efficient. As we scale up our infrastructure, people need to rely on what is easy to deploy.
There is a heavy emphasis on exporting the American technology stack, or simply exporting American AI. That's the bit of the open source debate that I really want to understand from you, because at the same time this administration frames this as competition. America wants to lead with its commercial leadership of AI against China in particular, as much as it wants to foster an open source ecosystem. Are both achievable?
One of the biggest takeaways that we have from this action plan is this U.S. tech stack. So there's not just this race for the frontier, this race for AGI. There's really this race for the global ecosystem. A huge part of open source and open weights is what people are able to locally deploy. And this is the emphasis on the American tech stack. We need the U.S. to develop more of those open weight and lightweight models.
Irene, finally, you were in the room, and some people were taken aback a little bit about who was in the room, the mix of policymakers, leaders in your industry. What was it that was most discussed in between the panels? You know, what is it that you exchange views on with your peers?
It was a mix. It was a huge variety of people in that room, which is who needs to be a part of this AI conversation. Some of the conversations we were having is about the next areas that we're excited about. We're looking forward to the next generation of manufacturing, towards robotics, towards what we can be doing to make sure that AI is being deployed in every sector in a meaningful way.